All right. Wicked. Back again. Another episode, preview, Trafford Talk. What's up? What's good? How's everybody doing?
Yeah, not bad. I mean, I'm kind of over the fact that we lost against the worst team in Premier League history, but we move on to the Arsenal game. That's what we're here to talk about anyway.
Yeah, not worried about that at all. I'm over it too. For anybody watching live, anybody new, like, subscribe. So I got Robbie here with me and Alexi. I'm not going to talk about the last game because I don't really care. Like I've been saying, it's a blip. It happens. We weren't going to go undefeated. And I actually think, to be honest, is not a bad time to lose a game. You do need wake-up calls sometimes, and I'm hoping that was a big wake-up call that we can't continue to go down against the opposition and come back and win the game. It's just no matter who the opposition is. Realistically, especially when we're going up against Arsenal, who we haven't beat since 2018 in the league. So for me, hopefully, we've had some really good bounce backs, some strong mentality from the team. I'm hoping we see another one coming up in the coming games. But before we speak about the game, I actually wanted to talk about something because today's a big day. You guys know what today is?
It's the anniversary of Bruno, isn't it?
There it is. The anniversary of Mr. Fernandez, or Fernandes. It's really how you're supposed to say it, but nobody says it right, and he actually doesn't care. He's actually come out and said, I don't really care how people say it. It's fine. The anniversary, I don't have the whole year stats. I think it's something like 35, 38 contributions now. But this year alone, he's been involved in the Prem in 18 goals, 18 goal contributions, 11 goals, 7 assists. Add on another 4 goals in the Champions League and an assist. Just an absolute game changer for us. Completely changed the way we go. So I'm going to start a conversation off like that. How do you guys feel about the anniversary, Mr. Bruno Fernandes, and what he's done for the team, realistically?
I mean, he's probably, I'm thinking in my lifetime, he's probably had the biggest impact out of any signing. I mean, it's outrageous, really. He's turned us from a team. I think people forget how bad we were before he came in. Because I remember I was at that Burnley game when we lost 2-0. And I was literally probably about 1,000 people left at the very end. Half the stadium, over half, was cleared out. People were booing. People were getting on the manager's back. It was such a toxic environment. And he came in, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say he almost single-handedly lifted us. It's really remarkable. And I mean, I don't know where we'd be without him, but I think his mentality is really important. I mean, there's been so many instances this season when we've come back. I saw a video on Twitter of it earlier against Southampton. We'd equalised to make it 2-2. Everyone else was celebrating, and Bruno was like, "What are you doing celebrating? We need to get another one." Gets everyone back. We get another goal, And yeah, he's been remarkable. He's driven standards up. He's done everything but win a trophy. He deserves a trophy for what he's done for us. I mean, I can't praise him enough, to be honest. It's mind-blowing how good he's been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's really only one other player that I can think of who's made such like an instant impact almost, and it's whenever I was much younger, and Robin van Persie. I mean, he came in, completely transformed the team, gave us goals, gave us something they actually think, wow, we've got an amazing football team in front of us. And I'm not saying we're at that stage at the moment where we've got an amazing football team in front of us, but Bruno Fernandes, for me, he's the best midfielder in the world. There's no one better than him. And the instant impact coming from Portugal, which, no disrespect to obviously the Portuguese league, but it is not at the same standard as the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, the top 5 leagues. But the way he's come in, shown his authority really in the United team, the passion he's shown as well for a club who he had no relation to in the past. And we've only seen him play 4 times in front of fans. It is mental. I mean, imagine.
That's true. Imagine. I didn't even think about that.
Cam, maybe not you, obviously, but I mean, I like to go down to the games as well. But imagine how that will be whenever we get into the stadium and we can actually see Bruno Fernandes play. You know,
Oh, I can't wait.
because
Can't wait.
surely that'll bring Old Trafford to their feet. Like he's the best midfielder in the world. I've not been as excited for a player to come in for years. And I mean, I hold my hands up. I've made mistakes by saying Jesse Lingard will be our starting midfielder for years to come. Radamel Falcao will be the next Van Persie, to be honest.
Yeah, we all got that one wrong, though, didn't we?
It's crazy. I didn't even think about the fact that he has not really had a chance to play in front of the Old Trafford crowd. Only 4 games. That sucks. But it is what I mean. I'm looking forward.
We gave him a very nice welcome, though. I mean, my throat was gone because basically for his 4 games, it was just his song on repeat. And the only time it kind of went away from his song was when he just sing Bruno at him when he's taking a penalty or a free kick. Like, that's all it was for like 4 games. But
yeah, and see the state that we were in though, right back in January, it was Bruno playing deeper. I don't know if you can remember the game well, but
yeah,
I'm sure it was Wolves.
He took up the Pogba role.
Yeah, and that's completely, now looking at it, it's bizarre because you play Bruno in attacking mid where he can get the ball on his feet, he can play. And you also need to remember, Bruno does track back. The second he loses the ball, that's why he's so different and he's one of a kind, because you look at Ozil, you look at all these different players who play in attacking mid and they're a joy to watch, yes. But Bruno Fernandes is a joy to watch, but he also puts in the work.
He does.
You can see.
It gets him in trouble too. And I mean, he's still on 4 yellows. Like, he's still sitting on that 4th yellow. And I'm kind of hoping, don't tell the Arsenal fan. So Indiana has been trolling Arsenal fans, and it's been pretty funny to see. This guy's been telling Arsenal fans that we're going to lose the game, and they haven't been enjoying it. So yeah, like I want to stay on Bruno a bit more, just because like it's just the impact and it being his anniversary. When I think about what you said, when it comes down to him being upset about the draw, like we're not being upset about them, being upset when people were celebrating for the draw. One of his best quotes ever was when he said his happiest day as a United player was when we were like, the team was sad. Like, they were upset that they drew against Leicester. And he's like, that's when I realized like the mentality has shifted, because he came into a squad that would have accepted a draw and been like, we got a draw, and that's big. And I think in the coming games, especially, like, again, I am scared of this yellow because he is going to be out for a game at some point. But I think for this next game, I expect him to put a stamp on it and kind of continue to get rid of that, he doesn't play well against big teams, because that's what people have been saying. Looking at the Arsenal past fixtures, we haven't done well against Arsenal. What do you guys think that might be? Like 2-0, 1-1, 2-0, and 1-0 Arsenal, the last 4 Premier League games we've played against them.
I don't even know, because Arsenal are shit.
Right?
You know, like, it's not, we can't even back it up by saying, well, Arsenal are a good team, like, we've just been outplayed. I mean, we just struggle against Arsenal. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I think
Alexi, go on. I see you.
No, I mean, it's really weird, because I remember there's a phase we used to beat them all the time, because even when we had Moyes, I think we beat them at Old Trafford.
We had a good stint.
I mean, the Emirates, we've not won there since December 2017 in the league. I think we've won in the cup since. But what I find really weird now is every time we play them at the Emirates, it seems to be the same situation. We go in as the strong favourites, and they seem to beat us 2-0. And it keeps happening. And I don't know if I'm imagining this, but Granit Xhaka always seems to score. And like, even if we were like 30 points clear at the top of the league and they were 15th or something, I'd still be worried about this game. It's just one of those, they're like our bogey team now. And I don't think they're good at all. They're not a good team, but we just have problems against them. Losing at home to them. I mean, I don't.
And that was probably one of my favourite ever games. The Arsenal United game where it was 8-2. Like, that was the top. That was honestly the top, that game.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
8-2. We walked all over them, and we got Van Persie after it, you know? And you look at it now and you think, Arsenal, they brought in Odegaard, I mean, I don't know if he'll start. I could be
I
wrong.
don't. I'll be
I don't.
shocked if he starts, but if he does, that'll be an interesting
Yeah.
play by Arteta if he does start him. But actually, Smith Rowe got injured the last game, did he not?
I think is that.
He-
Yeah, that's the
He came
time.
off, so maybe he gets thrown into the fire.
He's actually looking very good as well at the moment, but you never know. It might be Odegaard. I just think surely not in a game like this he'll go in. But then they've lost Ozil, who's probably been one of the most influential players for years, but Arteta doesn't seem to like him.
It was weird. The whole Ozil thing threw me off because Ozil in his prime, at his peak, was just unplayable. I'll never forget he had, and this was for Germany, this one move he had where it was him on a break and the goalkeeper came out to challenge him and he flicked it over top of him and put it on his left and just slotted it past him while like full speed. Like this was all in full speed. And like the amount of times he did us and him and Alexis Sanchez. So it's like when he fell out of favor with Unai Emery, and then I know a lot of it was political, but at the end of the day, it's like you got to play your best players. And I still thought he had something to give considering that team's lack of creativity. And it is funny, something you're seeing now. I'm seeing from talking to Arsenal fans, I'm seeing across social right now, is a lot of them hoping they play pragmatically against us, which you never, like how the mighty have fallen in that sense. You're coming into a game against United and you're hoping that your team plays a pragmatic game and doesn't attack us, because if they do, they'll get done in. That being said, how do you guys think we should approach the game? Like when it comes to the starting lineups, the tactics, what do you think Ollie's going to do tomorrow? Let's start with the attack.
You go first.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think I'd go attack wise. I'd go for Greenwood, Cavani, and Rashford, because I think the other night, obviously that night that we don't like to speak about, I think it just felt really sluggish and there was no intensity and everything. And I think Martial should be dropped. I mean, I've got quite an impressive stat here I'm quite proud of. So Martial has 8.98 presses per game and Cavani has 15 presses per game.
What?
Okay. Yeah. So
the guy's twice his age. Not actually, but
yeah, exactly. I mean, he's about 10 years older, right? And you're looking at the Sheffield United game the other night, and Martial's not making runs, and there just wasn't. It wasn't just him. There wasn't really any intensity from anybody. But I think if we have Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood, high intensity, pressure, all good finishes, and I think we need that in this game. I just think we need to get a bit of emphasis again because it was so sluggish the other night, and I think those three, for me, are the best three we can go for, because I think Martial, unfortunately, I like the guy, but I think he's got to have a bit of time out of the team, to be honest, because he wasn't great the other night.
How do you feel, Robbie?
I mean, see with the strikers as well. I would need to agree with that. I'd need to go with Cavani down the middle. I think he's been a breath of fresh air since he came in. He's provided this with everything we thought Martial was going to give us this season. Cavani's done, and I think Martial needs some time out of the team. He's clearly not there. Let's be real. I mean, his work rate off the ball is non-existent, and that is true. It looks as if he's given up almost, which playing for United and whenever there's better players in your position in the first place, that can't happen, and he needs to get dropped. But I mean, you never know. Ole might play him through it, but I would highly doubt that will actually happen.
I think at this point he can't. Like, I think Indiana nailed it. He's dead out there. He doesn't like the competition. The only time he seemed to fancy the competition was when it was him versus Rashford on the left-hand side. And we were bringing him in. And every time we brought him in, he scored. And every time Rashford came in, he scored. That was fun. But that's now turned into, it just seems like somebody who's dejected and knows he's losing his spot to somebody who's just a better player at this stage. Instead of learning from him, there's a lot he could learn from Cavani. And Cavani, if I'm Martial, I'm looking at Cavani being like, cool, come in, let's compete. But you're 34 years old, bro. Like, this is I'm wearing the number 9. This is my team. I'm going to continue to kick on. The thing that he hasn't seemed to learn is just how to be in the right place to score those easy goals. He scored probably a record amount of worldies last year. He scored so many just fantastic goals, and you can't go through a season and expect to score 10, 12 goals that make you go, oh my God. Like that was a one-time thing. Like with Jesse Lingard when he had his 14 goals or something. And I remember half of them being like, what? Like that's what everybody started calling him, Messi Lingard and stuff. There's that weird consistency that he's missing if you're going to be a number 9.
Do you know, I think it was last season, Ollie alluded to this because he said he wants strikers who break their nose to score a goal.
Yeah.
And Marshall, whether you like Marshall or you don't like Marshall, there is no doubt in the fact that is not him at all. And I think, because it's an obvious point, but Ollie was a really good striker himself. And I think he probably looks at Marshall with quite a lot of frustration just about his movement and stuff like that. And Ollie really wanted Haaland about a year ago.
Yeah, basically around the same time now. He was praying for Haaland. It was almost embarrassing how badly it was clear that we wanted Haaland, bringing him by the ground, giving a tour, being like, yeah, come check it out, And I think that shows that Ollie. I'm not saying Ollie. I don't think Ollie doesn't like Marshall. I think he does, but I think my feeling the whole time since Lukaku left is Ollie has wanted a number 9 in there who will break his nose to score goals, and play for the
bad.
I
guess Cavani does kind of fit that profile, but he's 34. If Cavani was 24, we'd be sorted. But you just need someone who can get in the box and finish really easy goals, like what Ollie used to do. That's what we need at the moment, and we've kind of got that in Cavani. But we will have to buy a striker now who can do that week in, week out, because while Cavani's been brilliant, unfortunately, the guy's 34. So we're going to have to get someone in. Because I don't think
you also need to remember, though, the fact that we literally don't need players tomorrow who are going to have to break their nose to score. I mean, the defence last week I watched the game against Southampton. Yes, they won, but I mean, their defence is shocking. I'm sure it was Hector Bellerin, David Luiz, Rob Holding, and Kieran Tierney. That's not a good defence at all. And whenever you get players like Cavani, I was going to say Martial there, but I don't think he'll start. Rashford, and I mean, Bruno Fernandes, let's say as well, Greenwood. Surely we will break them down and score goals. And Arsenal won't sit in. Arsenal aren't the team to do that.
They are though. With under Arteta, they are. They have been this year.
Not as much. I was kind of comparing it to previous fixtures. Like they won't take it the way that, let's say, Sheffield United will take it in the last game where they'll sit on the edge of their.
We want to believe that. I want to believe that, but I don't. The way Arteta's played this year, the way Arteta has played his football this year, like it has been the most defensive we've seen. Like it is Jose Mourinho-esque, but like worse.
Yeah, it's not as effective as Jose Mourinho.
It's not as deep as other teams that aren't doing as well just now.
Yeah, they don't sit in they don't sit in their box, but they sit back. They don't. Yeah, they don't.
I guess you could kind of call it big team sitting back, couldn't you? It's like for a big team, it's sitting back, but like Robbie said, it's kind of not like Sheffield United level where it's literally on your goal line.
I don't know if that was the fact that Phil Jagielka just couldn't move because he was that old and he's not played a game for about 10 years. I think that was maybe down to that factor, but I mean, those guys were literally sitting on the edge of the box. So should have scored, but. Yeah.
So when we look at the whole situation, I agree with you guys for the attack. Actually, I do believe we have to play those three. Martial should be sitting. I wouldn't be upset if Martial came on. If it's like if we're up 2-1 or 2 and you decide, because he hasn't been playing. I don't think Greenwood's made it through a single 90-minute run yet. I don't think he's gone through a full 90 minutes. I would not be surprised if we see somebody else come in like a Mata or James, because Ollie does that sometimes. I wouldn't like it, but he does do that sometimes where he like switches it up out of nowhere. For the midfield, this is where it gets interesting. This is kind of the midfield is the hardest one to call for this game. I do believe it's going to be the McFred midfield to start the game with Bruno, and then the bringing on Pogba around the 65th minute to change the tempo. Whether we're up or not, I think that change is going to come. I think it'll be like a planned. This is how we're going to go, because we're going to want to have a little bit more guile in the midfield, and they don't have great ballers in the midfield. So it's not like you need you need to play with it too much. You need to keep possession. You need to be able. They have Xhaka. Who else is going to play in the midfield? They're going to have Partey. They're not going to play Xhaka if they play Partey. Normally, they don't actually play them together. So it'll be Emile Smith-Rowe will play their 10, or Odegaard. That'd be, again, pretty crazy if that happens. But it looks like our midfield, I think, just based on the fact that they haven't been playing for a few games, and we do have probably the best win percentage with them, and it's who Ollie brings in when he needs to be solid. It's always McTominay and Fred. When he needs to win, those are the guys he goes to. Just be like, listen, we need to go out and win. And I'm going to stop. Let's do some admin. There's 10 people watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, share out the video, all that good stuff. Get your comments in. But yeah, I can't see a different midfield goal. I think Pogba, Bruno is probably, again, is our best midfield combination, but I don't think they start. What do you think, Robbie?
Yeah, I think that McFred, yes, it worked, and on paper it looks good. The fact that they can both sit and we can let Bruno Fernandes go. But personally, I think it will be Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and I think it will be Fred or McTominay. So I think it will be Fred. To be honest, I just don't think Pogba can get dropped at the moment. I think we need to basically abuse Arsenal's midfield, because Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka don't get forward as much as they say like other top teams in the league. And then you also look at Smith-Rowe. I don't know if he'll play, as you said, injury concerns, but I think I would just go with one of them for this game. However, Ole, I don't know, because he obviously loves the McTominay-Fred partnership. If it was me, right, and if I was the Scotland manager, I would try and find Fred's grandparents to see if they've got any Scottish blood in them, because see those two guys in the midfield, they can see out any game, you know. In the Euros, get them against England, the two of them in midfield, that would be one to watch. They'd make it to the final.
Who do you think you are? I could go on who do you think you are and try and find,
Fred turns up for Scotland this summer.
He might be a family street. You never know. No, but on a serious note, I think it will be Fred, Bruno and Pogba, because as I said, Bruno can still get back and help out the midfield when necessary as well. So,
Alexi, who do you think is going to happen in the midfield? And do you think we're going to go for it? Do you think we're going to full on from the drop of the ball, go for it? Like, no counterattacking, just...
See, the reason why I think I would go for McTominay, Fred and Bruno is because we can still go for it with them, because Fred and Bruno are so energetic and they can press. Bruno, like we were saying, can press till the cows come home, and Fred's really good at it as well. And I just think I don't think it will be Bruno and Pogba, and the reason for it is, while we really need to win this, being a bit too open is a bit risky. And I think Ollie, it must be in Ollie's head a bit, thinking, I've not beaten Arsenal for quite a long time. I think he's only ever beaten them once, and that was in the Cup.
FA Cup.
And and
actually, no, I don't think he did. Did he? I'm gonna check.
Yeah, it was. I think it was at the Emirates when Emery was there.
Yeah, it was 2019. Yeah, 2015. Yep. You're right.
But I think that midfield, obviously, it's the closest thing to solidity I think we have, and reliable solidity. And I think we need that in a game like this, because they've won 16 points out of the last 18, possible 18. They're in really good form. And last time, a lot of people think, which I understand, that they were lucky because they got a penalty in the home fixture. But I thought for the first half an hour, I thought they really outplayed us. They were pressing constantly and we couldn't really do much. We were like being pinned back. And yeah, for that reason, I would definitely go. I go for McTominay and Fred because I think they can press better and they're more press resistant. Which I think is going to be really important, because it's.
But will they give us enough going forward? Will McTominay and Fred give us enough going forward? Because on the ball, they're not great. But yes, as you said, they're good whenever Arsenal they see are pressing. But do you maybe bring one of them on the 60th minute if we're winning at that point? Or do we start them?
I think they give us more than
rely on Bruno for absolutely everything.
I think they give us more than enough going forward based on kind of, in a sense, like that's the thing. There's a weird misconception of Scott McTominay that he is like a defensive midfielder. He really isn't. He's more of a box to box midfielder. Yes, he's not amazing on the ball, and yes, he plays deep. He plays center back for Scotland, but that's just because you guys don't have anybody else. The truth is, like he started his career as a box to box. He wants to be a box to box. He scored some great goals getting into the box, getting forward. But he's just stronger. And I think when you're up against a midfield like with Partey and with Xhaka, you want Fred in there. I think Fred will start. You want a pass. You want somebody who's going to be at least trying to get the ball as much as possible, intercept, break up play, and start the break that way. And then just get the ball to Bruno. It's kind of everybody makes fun of the way we play. Like, it's like, oh, Bruno does everything. It's like, well, that's part of the game plan. You get the ball to Bruno. He sees the runs. He sees the players, and we start the attack quickly. I do hear what you're saying, though. But the problem with a Paul Pogba in this game is Pogba does like to sit on the ball and have a little bit more time. Partey's not going to let that happen. He's not going to give him a lot of time on the ball. Xhaka, I'm not. This is why I think you can start Fred and McTominay, because I'm not worried about Xhaka, right? I don't think they have any ball players in the midfield. I'm not worried about them getting forward. So if they're not going to be pressing us to get forward, at least Scott and Fred can go and break up play. But I know what you're saying. I obviously Paul Pogba is one of our match winners, and the way he's been playing, you want him in the side. I'm just trying to think what the gaffer is going to do, and it seems like this is a game that, to be honest, I think Alexi, you kind of hit it on the head when you're saying, I'm not sure all he wants to win the game, but he definitely does not want to lose this game. Right? That's a draw would suck. A draw would also be a terrible result in my opinion. But I think Ollie would look at it as, we can't lose this game. And he knows with Scott and Fred, he's not going to, like, the percentages are in his favor with those two. Onto the defense. I think the defense picks itself, especially after what we saw over the weekend. Not saying Telles was bad. Telles was fine. Telles, I think, did exactly what he needed to do. But Shaw will come back in. And I believe if Lindelof is healthy, because Bailly picked up a knock again, this guy can't stay healthy. Bailly got hurt, so I think it'll be a Lindelof, Maguire, and I think we'll have a chalk back five that we're used to seeing. Do you guys think there'll be any surprises in the back?
No, I think it will be Lindelof as well. I mean, that's the only one I'm going to talk about because, I mean, Luke Shaw's been probably one of our best players this season, apart from Bruno.
Luke Shaw's been the best left back in the Premier League.
Yeah. Definitely, without a doubt, he's absolutely, he flies forward now. If he's not getting the ball into the box, he's playmaking almost on the left-hand side, like he's bringing the ball in, giving it to Bruno. He knows what to do. It's almost as if he's in line with what Ole wants him to do. So I think he'll obviously start. Wan-Bissaka, we've not got anyone else at right back. During the summer, I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to make any business coming to United during January, but hopefully during the summer we will get a right back, but it looks like we'll just need to settle for Wan-Bissaka for the rest of the season at right back, just to someone obviously to compete against him, because I do love Wan-Bissaka, but yeah, he's not exactly the end product at the moment. And Lindelof, I think a game like this, I mean, we see Bailly, right, and Bailly does well against your physical strikers, your fast strikers, but then you look at Arsenal strike force at the moment, and it's going to look as if it's going to be Lacazette starting up front because Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is out, I'm sure, due to family issues.
Yeah, he said he had some family stuff. I don't know if he said he'd be back soon, but I don't think it's for this game. He's dealing with some other. I don't think it's for
this game. So surely Lacazette will start.
Yeah, and Saka's their danger man.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm sure Lindelof and Maguire should be able to deal with him. He's not anything what Lacazette used to be, but yeah, obviously we can't write him off. The defense will still be good enough, though.
Who starts on the left for them then? Who draws Aaron Wan-Bissaka? That's the way I look at it.
Probably Bukayo Saka.
You think they're going to move him because he was on the right in the last game, right? They put Pepe on the left and they moved Saka to the right. So, personally, I hope Saka plays on the left because I'd much rather Aaron Wan-Bissaka be matched up against him. To be honest, like I think that's a perfect matchup for him. He won't be able to dribble past him. He is creative, and he does try to. He will get balls in the box. He will look for Lacazette. That's the thing. He's their danger man. He's the one that we have to. The game plan should be around stopping Saka from doing anything, in my opinion. He's in great form. He had a goal and assist last game. He had a goal the game before. Like he's flying right now. So he's the problem. Pepe, I'm never scared of. I don't care what anybody says. He had one goal in the last 2 years. I'm not really worried about Pepe. Lacazette plays well against us though. And the thing is, one thing is, even though he's a midget, he's not that tall. He's like 5'5" or something. He's good. He's only like 5'6" or something, or 5'7". Really? Yeah, I don't think he's that tall. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's because I have a friend who kind of looks like Lacazette, who's really short. And it's maybe getting in my head. I really do. He's got the bald head and the beard and everything, and he's a striker. Just not as light skin, but either way, he's good in the air. He has a good header on him, and that is one thing we. Now we're talking defense. One thing I really wanted to talk about was set pieces.
Oh,
Jesus! We
you know actually what, though?
We can't allow a set piece. Yeah, go ahead.
So the first goal the other night from the corner, I think it was a foul on De Gea, but I think something unfortunate is that while De Gea has been brilliant. Since he's been here over the last 10 years, he's not been very good on corners and he's not been very good at distribution. And then we see the second goal. And the second goal, I don't think it's his fault at all. He's one of about 10 mistakes from different players, but he should have just kicked it. But the fact De Gea is still getting targeted for that in 2021 is worrying to me because I think he's possibly the best shot stopper I might have ever seen, but he's never been dominant on corners at all. No. And it's still going on now. And the guy's, 30, 31?
He's a bit of a Spanish model. He's a bit of him and Victor Lindelof, but they're both very soft, in my opinion, when it comes to aerial duels. I would have loved to see De Gea punch through the back of Sharp, just punch him out, just be like, what? Like he's I went to punch the ball. And he's very weak when it comes to going after those 50-50 balls. He doesn't. It's not like Henderson will bowl through somebody, even his own player, which is where he's better. And you're right, De Gea is not good at distributing. He's definitely the best shot stopper I've seen in a long time. But it's not just De Gea on set pieces. It's everybody. No. It is the entire squad except for Pogba lately. Pogba's been great, but everybody else is just struggling tracking the ball in the air. Like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Lord. We're completely in trouble if Aaron Wan-Bissaka gets a diagonal ball over top. That's like he can't for his life track the ball once it's in the air and it's going diagonal. He loses it. If you look at Maguire's great in the air, but the problem is Maguire in this zonal marking seems to have been out of position almost every time now. He's trying his best to be in the right, but he always seems to be out of position. He's never in the right spot because I'm taking Maguire over almost anybody in an aerial duel. He's very strong in the air, wins most of them. I mean, the goal should have stood because he did what he had to do in that game, but we're not going to talk about that too much. But yeah, I don't know, Robbie, what do you think about our set piece?
I think with the set piece against Sheffield United, obviously don't want to dwell on it. We've done the review on that, but personally, I don't think De Gea had anything to do with that. He got rugby tackled. Sheffield United style. Should have been a foul. Referee had an absolute shocker the full game. And to be honest, yes, there has been an ongoing issue with set pieces. But you also need to remember that this reason is because we don't have enough height through Lindelof. And throughout the full season, you look at, probably the best goal that sums up Lindelof was Everton's goal. We bet them. The game where Ole, we were talking about it. Ole is going to leave. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin won the ball from the goal kick, flicked it on. They targeted Victor Lindelof. I know that's not from a set piece, but it's quite a similar scenario.
It's basically like a similar scenario, though. It's like your goalkeeper's it's a dead ball situation.
One-on-one heading for a centre-back needs to be 90% wins. Harry Maguire, if I would back him every single time against one of your taller strikers in the league to win that header. Whereas Victor Lindelof, I can't. And I can't back Victor Lindelof for basically most of this season. I think the last couple of seasons as well, he's had on and off spells where he's been good, then also struggled. But for the long term, if you want to win the league and if you want to basically be the top of your game, he is not a centre back that we need. He can't sweep the ball and get it away. You even look at Liverpool and you think Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, Joe Matip, they've still got height. They can still win the header. They can still win the tackle. Whereas Lindelof, as you said, he kind of strolls about and
he's only
worries about any tackles.
He's not
and
that short though. You know that he's 6 foot. Like he's not that short. The problem is he can't jump. Some people just don't have hops. Some people just don't have ups, and I think that's what it is. He's stuck to the ground because he's really not that short. Like I think he's a 6 foot guy. He's and that's the thing when you watch him in Sweden, it is just weird. The Maguire Lindelof partnership, as much as it's yielded great results, and I'm not going to say it doesn't. I'm not going to be one of those people who are just like, oh, like their mistakes. Like if you look at the numbers, especially last year, they were like the third best defensive pairing in Europe. But they're such similar players, and we get found out sometimes in the set. But the one weakness that you don't want Lindelof to have is that aerial duel. Like they're both good on the ball. Lindelof's got pace too. People talk about our defense being Lindelof's pretty fast. Like it's just
yeah. I mean, do you know what sums up Victor Lindelof for me? Do you guys remember? Like I think it was last year, Mourinho was on Sky Sports for a bit while he was out of the job, and he was talking about Victor Lindelof before a game. I think it's before we played Chelsea, and he said Victor's a great defender. The problem is he's not very good in the air. And exactly as Jose Mourinho was saying that, Victor Lindelof was in a warm-up and he completely missed a header. The ball went straight over his head. And that clip alone, it just kind of sums it up, doesn't it? I mean, you could argue if Mourinho did know that, then why did he buy him? But that's another story. But yeah, I think it's a big problem.
Because he had Chris Smalling
good in the air.
If you think about it, he actually had Chris Smalling beside him when he bought Lindelof. Smalling was our other center back, and Smalling, as we know, is a monster in the air. That's one thing. He's fast and he's great in the air. Outside of that, he not very good. But those two things, Smalling was fantastic at. He didn't get beat in the air very often, and he was really, really fast. But he could not kick a ball for the life.
But I mean, like obviously, I was saying about the De Gea thing as well, and I think that is a big issue. I think that is, and it's been an issue for 10 years. But equally, we should know by now. Teams know De Gea is a bit vulnerable on set pieces and target them because you see it practically every game. It is usually against the smaller teams. They all just crowd around De Gea, right? Yeah. We see that so often, right? And to be fair to De Gea, he's probably thinking, why aren't we preparing better for this? Why am I getting no protection at all from the midfielders or the defenders marking? There's no protection against it. This tactic has been used by I've been seeing this tactic used by team for about 5 or 6 years. Yet it seems like we haven't found a way of dealing with it. We just we just look shocked by it every time. And it's mind-blowing to me. It's really mind-blowing because we should be protecting De Gea from that. We know it's his vulnerability. Everyone else knows it is. We should be sat down in a training session, the coach going, this is how we deal with this. You know, you stand there, you stand there. But it just doesn't, it's not happened. And it's not just in this era, it's the Moyes era, the Van Gaal era, Jose Mourinho era.
I'd like Ollie to do something.
Protected him.
I'd like Ollie to do something similar to some of the other managers that you see, like the Klopps and the Joses, and they talk about specific things in their press conferences to kind of seed it in. Because I think somebody the other day said it looks like what Klopp's doing is working because we aren't getting any 50-50 calls at all anymore. Like we haven't had a penalty for how long? Like, you know what I mean? So Ollie should be going out there being like, it's time that the refs start looking at the fact that people are bumping my keeper in the air when the ball's up like from a corner. Like it's time that the refs start looking at the fact that he is being bumped. He is being pushed. There's a lot of movement around, but when we do it, it's a foul. When the other teams do it, it's like, it's cool. De Gea was just weak in the air. And like you said, Robbie, that was a rugby tackle. I wanted to get to the score predictions for tomorrow. What are you guys thinking? Is it tomorrow or is it Sunday? It's tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I keep forgetting. I'm moving. My brain's all over the place. I'm out of here on Sunday. So
no, I think we'll win 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my prediction too.
I think it will be Cavani and Bruno Fernandes that will score. And I think Bruno Fernandes will assist Cavani's, and Greenwood will be involved somewhere as well.
Well,
I hope he starts because Greenwood has actually been very good recently and given us something different on the right. So
what you're
I'll
telling
keep it.
me is I should switch my FPL captain to Bruno instead of Raheem Sterling.
Yes. Yep, definitely. Arsenal aren't very good and they've got a terrible defence. So there is no way that we should settle for any less than 3 points at the Emirates. No way. Not in a game like this. We need to pick up as many points as possible. And 2-0, I'll be so happy this time tomorrow night. I won't be because it'll be half time probably. But you get what I mean.
Yeah. Alexi, you said 3-0?
I think 3. I'm going to go 3-1. We're going to see kind of. Do you remember like late kind of 2008, 9, 10 kind of time? We used to hit them on those counter attacks, like really beautiful interchange between Ronaldo, Rooney, and Park, and we just destroyed them at the Emirates. It's going to be like that tomorrow. We're going to see Rashford, Cavani, and Greenwood on the counter attack, and it's just going to be beautiful. And we're going to bounce back, and everything's going to be fine again. And 21 will still be coming. And I don't know where this optimism's come from, but I'm just going to go with it because this time tomorrow I'll be very nervous.
I like this because, to be honest, we're probably the most optimistic of the three. Like, see the guys that for the people who are watching, we've obviously got a WhatsApp chat and we've been talking in it about United, about how we're doing recently, and Cam was just being positive, and then you get the other guys, you get Ahmed, you get
Des not having any of it.
Those guys absolutely hate the fact that how it's going at the moment. They don't hate the fact that
Ahmed won't mention title race. Ahmed won't even say the words title
Why?
race. He's like, we're not contenders.
We'll see him. We'll watch him on the review tomorrow, and he'll think if we win 5-0, we need to make top four. We're top four.
We're top four. That's Champions League. That's all you'll hear.
We're very different. So if you guys want to watch Ahmed, they'll be straight on after the game. Probably will be pessimistic, but you can come and watch Cam again. You'll always be on the previews, showing optimism, and you never know, we might actually get the one.
I believe in this team. I believe what all he's doing. The numbers don't lie. He's picked up the most points out of any manager since he's come in. It is what it is.
Yeah,
but the problem is then there's days where you're really optimistic, like the Sheffield United one where Alexi and I were like 4-0. It's going to be a battering. No. And then.
Is that what you say? 4-0?
Yeah. You know, when their first goal went in, I was thinking, oh, God, I said 4-0.
I was like, ooh. Oh. I was like, whatever, we'll be good. No, I'm not going to lie. I didn't feel confident at all, even after he scored the goal. But yeah, so my prediction's 2-0. I do believe Bruno might get a penalty. I think he'll be influential. I don't know. I do think Arsenal will use their midfielders to try and cramp him. I'm not sure if it'll work. We'll see. I'm probably still sticking with Raheem Sterling as my captain just because he's playing Sheffield United and they're going to actually batter them. Like Sheffield United, after yesterday's game, after the last game they played against United, they've got nothing left in the tank. Those guys are going to be so dead.
Jagielka's still on his bed.
Jagielka's still on the treatment table in the cryo chamber. Like they gave everything to beat us. But with that, I'm going to end the stream here. Again, anybody watching back, like, subscribe. Thank you guys for coming on, and let's go United.